Yep.
But I will introduce myself now. My name is Raul Cavazos. I am a co-chair of the Island Services Committee, which is a part of RIRA. RIRA is the Roosevelt Island Residents Association. It's basically the body that tries to be the voice of Roosevelt Island residents to RIOC. And we do our best to have a positive working relationship with RIOC to get what is needed from for the community. Island Services specifically is involved with any services around the island, water works, plumbing, trash, and in case for a lot of you, we are also advocating for the dog runs. I have been a part of RIRA for a few years now, and one of the main reasons why I joined was because of the dog runs. So that has been an ongoing issue, as we all are aware. So that was my introduction. I will give a quick introduction to Rosanna, or Rosanna can introduce herself. Rosanna.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Rossana Ceruzzi. I am the president of the Roosevelt Island Resident Association and working with all the committees under the umbrella of Roosevelt Island Resident Association, of which the Island Services Committee is one. And as Raul has already introduced in the agenda, the dog parks, both the north, the upgrading the north one, and recreating the south one, because we used to have one. For the ones who have been living on the island for long, they remember that we used to have a dog park, but yet, you know, the dog park was not really what it should be, a dog park, meaning without water, etc., etc. The details will be discussed during this meeting, obviously. So we have been advocating for it. We understand that the pandemic slowed down a lot of activities, of course, but I am glad that now the president of RIOC is paying close attention to this matter and to also the latest events. And so thank you very much for joining the meeting, and Raul, take it away. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I also want to let everyone know that Rick O'Connor is with us. He's the Roosevelt Islander online blogger. He will be taking notes, and he actually just posted a story today regarding the dog runs and the off-leash dog situation. It's a very comprehensive article, so please look at it when you can. And I will now open the floor to see if anyone would like to introduce themselves. As a reminder, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand and then I will call on you if anyone would like to make an introduction. Jennifer, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Heinen. I'm actually a physician who works at Sloan Kettering, and I live at 425 Main Street in the Sloan housing here. And is it okay, Raul, if I say why I'm here today and everything?
Yes, keep it short and then we can get to where the discussion during the dog runs.
Great. So I'm here today because the Southtown dog run has become a particular issue. I think a significant safety hazard. My dog has injured his paw there 3 times, and multiple other dog owners have reported similar injuries. We think a solution is needed now, not when a new dog run is formed. And along those lines, we had proposed off-leash hours before 9 a.m. after 9 p.m. in Firefighters Field. And so I'd just like to, I can go into more depth in that when we get to that, that topic.
Perfect, thank you. Would anyone else like to introduce themselves? Mary DeMauro.
Hi, my name is Mary DeMauro. I live here in the island. I am a mom of 2 dogs, and I'm also a dog walker in the island. And I also teach for the Main Street Theater Dance Alliance. And I'm also here together with Jennifer. We have founded the Roseville Island Dog Parents Association. And we are just trying to, you know, find a way to have our dogs being accommodated in the island, since I know that this used to be an island that had no dogs, but that is not our reality anymore. And since we have our babies here, we just, we want them to be safe. And I'm here to advocate for the new dog park and for off-leash hours in a safe manner that will not, harm anyone or not interfere with anyone else's well-being. We just want to try to come to a compromise.
Thank you, Mary. I see Ashley Lewis.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Ashley Lewis. I have lived on Roosevelt Island my entire life, so that puts me at a solid 37 years. I'm a licensed attorney, and my son is a 13-year-old. And recently we did have an incident, unfortunately, with unleashed dogs. So as being a resident, now don't get me wrong, I'm a doggy auntie, so I am not here to say who cares about the dogs or protect the children on either side. I'm just here to voice concerns and hopefully place input so that everyone can reach, amicable balance.
Thank you, Ashley. We have Nicole McLaughlin.
Hi guys, I'm Nicole McLaughlin. I'm a resident of the island, also a dog parent, and I'm here to advocate for a safe way to provide something for our dogs to play in that won't interfere with anybody else around and any safety or health concerns.
Thank you, Nicole. I see iPhone Rachel, which I assume is Rachel. Rachel, you're muted.
Yes. Hi, I'm Rachel Dowling, and I'm a local mom. I used to write for the Main Street Wire, and I've run a youth group on the island, the Roosevelt Island Navigators. And I've lived at 405 Main Street across from Firefighter Field for almost 8 years now. And I'm proud to be able to call Roosevelt Island my home. And I share that passion for the island that I think probably everybody here shares, and that has brought us all here. I also have, struggled with Lyme disease, as has my son, and that created at one time for him, he experienced dog phobias. So I'm very empathic toward people and situations that involve phobias. He's worked through a lot of his phobias, but he also had a very terrifying experience 2 years ago with a dog, and he was almost attacked by the dog, and it was a very traumatizing experience for him. So I'm really just, there's nobody questioning that, the dogs need a better condition dog parks. That's been something I've advocated for actually for years and spent some time on. We thought that something was going to be getting done about that. So I'm glad to hear that so much attention is being brought to this. And I just think it's just unreasonable and unrealistic I don't think people realize how hard fought our resources here are and how actually scarce they are, and that a lot of time and money goes into preserving them, keeping the playing fields up to code, up to health code and safety code. So, taking the fact that the dog parks have gotten run down and then just turning around and trying to use the playing fields, just to me, just doesn't make any sense. And the playing fields have gotten really eroded. I recently slipped on Firefighter Field myself playing Frisbee on the mud because it's in such bad shape. And, so there's a variety of things going on. I've also just seen the deterioration of so much of our vegetative life because of dogs, going to the bathroom there. I've seen dogs going to the, number 2 on Firefighter Field. And, it's a place where people are playing, kids are playing, they're sliding on the field, etc. It's just not safe. It's not sanitary. And, let's advocate to improve the dog parks. But I really, unless you want to think about maybe going up to Lighthouse Park or somewhere a little bit more remote for some off-leash hours where there aren't like birds nesting, it's just, this is not the place to be doing that. So
Okay,
that's
Rachel,
it. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
So as a
Sorry
reminder,
for going on so long. I didn't prepare my statement.
This is just introductions, and so we will get on to the discussion during the items. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Of course,
no,
I should have
no
realized.
worries,
I'm
no
so
worries.
sorry.
Okay, so we have Frank France. You can introduce yourself, Frank.
Hi, everyone. Frank France here. Actually, I'm not there. I'm on the Long Island Expressway right now, pulled over, so I'm not driving. I've been a resident for, I guess, was it 42 years, since 1980, back when we believed that dogs were prohibited. That was not actually the case. And I've been interested in this the dog runs as an important service on the island for balancing the needs of basically dog owner or pet owners, and also and other residents. I recognize that pets are very important for a variety of reasons, and I'm looking forward to making progress here. I patrol the island regularly. You guys all know that. And so I've been doing that every 1 or 2 or 3 times a week for, almost a decade now. And I've noticed that there's been a lot of outdoor non-leashed dog activity that seems to be inconsistent. I'd just like to see things worked out nicely so that we can find some compromise that works for the community as a whole. Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Frank. We have Michelle, and then we have one other person, and then we'll get on with the rest of the agenda. Remember, introductions only.
Hi, I actually got this link off of Facebook, but I have been a resident on Roosevelt Island for the past 5 years. I've lived in both the Octagon and Manhattan Park. I have 2 dogs, and I'm also a toddler mom, so I understand all aspects. So I'm quite interested to hear what the petition is and just learn more, because I see both sides of it. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thanks, Michelle. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but I know your email, cmerchu@yahoo.com.
Yes, sorry.
I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My name is Merchu Kuruchet Ziv, and I lived here for about 8 years. And I am attending this meeting because in the context that I am a mother of 2 humans, and I am a mother of my beloved dog. And in the 8 years I've been here, there has been requests and complaints and petitions, actually. And there was even a promise that a dog run was going to be built, and I don't know what happened, what blocked it. It is a mystery to me that the resources cannot pull this together when you blink and there are 2 buildings already built across from us. So I feel building the right dog run, it shouldn't be so hard. So I'm curious, what's blocking this? And I think we all are behind that. We don't want dogs off leash. It's not good. It's not safe for our dogs either. So that's why I'm here, because I believe I have a perspective of being a mother of humans. So I very much appreciate what it's like to have kids running around, but our dogs really, really need something better. If you go to any dog run, the contrast is crazy. You will see for yourself.
Thank you. Shane, we have one more, please. Just a quick introduction, and then we will move on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shane Shiels. I've lived on the island for 15 years now with my family. We moved here when my daughter was 2 and my son was just born. So we've raised our kids here. We're also dog owners here. I think, like a lot of the other people here, we're very concerned about the really poor quality of the dog run, and generally poor consideration for dog owners on the island. So that's why we're tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Okay, so that is it for introductions. We're on for previous items. I know that most of you are here for the dog runs, but I do have to mention that we do a lot of other projects around the island And since our last meeting, there was an issue regarding 425 commercial garbage area. For those of you who live in Southtown, it is the location where a lot of the merchants, including the restaurants, they put all of their garbage in that area. And so for the longest time, for many, many months, that area has been a disaster, full of trash, full of hazards and broken glass and metals, and just wasn't being kept up properly. And so over the past few months, the Island Services Committee has been corresponding with Hudson Related, David Kramer, because this became an issue and a lot of Southtown residents were voicing complaints. So the update is, if you walk past it now, it is a lot cleaner. David Kramer did accommodate this request. For those of you who might be aware, there was a previous agreement between the merchants that were leasing with Hudson Related and the surrounding buildings, where the merchants would pay the custodians of the buildings to go out to the garbage area every so often and just clean up the area, because the garbage contractor who picks up the garbage sometimes isn't, their only concern is what's in the garbage bins and not around the garbage bins. So the update is that that is fixed and that we will be continuing to monitor that location because more likely than not, it might become an issue again, but when it does, we will be there to fix it. So that is that update. And then we can go on to the main thing, which is the dog runs and the off-leash dogs. I will give a quick recap of everything that we have been involved with regarding the dog runs, and then we can open up the floor to discussion. But just to let everyone know on this call, the dog runs issue has been an ongoing situation for a number of years here on Roosevelt Island. I personally live at the Octagon, and I do have a dog. And so I understand, and that's really one of the reasons why I got involved, was that it's just not acceptable. There is no grass, there's just dirt, potholes. It's really quite disgusting. There is no water available for the dogs. And so I have been working with Rosanna and some other individuals. One lady in particular from the Octagon helped me originally create some evidence, photo evidence, and we created a correspondence to RIRA to advocate for a redevelopment of the dog runs. Rosanna, as RIRA president, was communicating directly with Shelton and actually has been communicating with Shelton for over a year now, or maybe close to 2 years. And so this has been an ongoing issue, and there has been a lot of back and forth. RIRA has previously stated that they are looking and reviewing and trying to understand what is needed to redevelop these dog runs. And so basically we were in discussions with RIRA for a number of months. They came to us with some timelines. Those timelines have basically been delayed and delayed. However, if you look into Rick O'Connor's recent article, you can see that Shelton and RIRA did provide a statement saying that they will be working with us to find a solution to the dog runs. That being said, we understand that over the course of these many years, dog parents have, slowly and steadily stopped using the dog runs because they're just not in the condition to be used on a regular basis. So the new issue that has arisen is that there's a lot of dogs that are using the green spaces and the public spaces as off-leash areas for their dogs. Obviously, I understand that there is a need for dogs to have their place to roam around. However, as we all know, this is actually not allowed. And so that's why we're here to discuss the solutions. I understand that there's a petition going on for off-leash dog hours, which is something that is common in other dog parks around New York City. That being said, I also would like to reiterate that RIRA and Island Services Committee we do not take any sides when it comes to island residents and what they're concerned with. We try to encompass all of the concerns of the residents. And this is a place where we can politely vocalize our concerns. And so it helps both Rosanna and I have a better understanding of what the community wants, what the community needs, and for us to voice those concerns to RIAC, who ultimately makes the decisions when it comes to Roosevelt Island. Rosanna, would you like to say anything before I open up the floor to discussion?
Yes, I would like to add, thank you, Raul. I would like to add that for some of you perhaps is new that there is in fact a written agreement between Hudson related, Mr. Kramer, and RIAC to create this new park. So this was supposed to be built, designed, and then built. State-of-the-art park is described as, and was supposed to be built between building 8 and building 9. So what happened is that, as you all know, I'm sure the building 9 has a delay now for issues that we are not fully aware of. So regardless, the point is that the building of the new, or from scratch rather, dog park has been delayed as well. So we put a lot of pressure on RIAC, but of course that overlapped also the pandemic. So there were delays on RIAC side, mostly for that. There were delays, and there are still delays on Hudson related part, but we do have a RIAC has a contract signed, an agreement signed with Hudson related, and where it says basically that Hudson related will build the new dog park. With that said, though, we have another dog run at north side of the island. And yes, that needs an upgrade, to say the least. The original plan was that with the expansion of the Lighthouse Park, there is actually a project that has been put now dormant for whatever reason. I am not clear on what is the reason, but I am sure that there is an important reason. So in that design, there was in fact the dog run. So that was going to be basically south of the lighthouse and between the current parking lot, that very ugly parking lot that is on the east side, and the lighthouse. So that was also good news, because we were going to have a new dog park up there. And I am also a former dog owner, just the ones of you who don't know me. So, but again, everything got delayed. So we continue to put this pressure, and to fast forward it, now we finally seems to be getting something from RIAC, like in terms of a plan, a visual, or something will be provided. What I would like to add to what Raul said, though, as also a former dog owners and animal lover, of course, is that obviously I love dogs, we all love dogs, okay, but that doesn't mean that we have to violate regulation and law that are in place in New York. So like, for instance, the fact that they are off leash anywhere, when we all hear, I'm sure most of us have heard, oh, don't worry, it's a good dog. Don't worry. Yeah, we know it's a good dog. But when there are children or adults that have dog phobias, or they don't feel comfortable with dogs, especially the children, but there are also senior or disabled. So the answer of it's a good dog, it's not something that we should actually hear. So we all have to care. As much as we love our dogs, we also have, of course, to observe the proper regulations that we all observe for other topics and other, that is what we live on rules and regulations, right? In a democratic country. And so that is all I want to say. And now we go with the discussion, and we can go, point by point. Raul.
Thank you, Rosanna, for your comprehensive update on the dog runs. I will pass it along to Nicole Mclaughlin first.
Hey, I just wanted to get unmuted. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for having this meeting because obviously it's super important to so many of us, whatever side of the fence we're on, no pun intended. But I wanted to cover, first of all, the safety and health concerns. A lot of the dogs don't return to their owner upon command. And that's not just in firefighter field. That's when you're out walking your dog at any given time. You know, and it might be a good dog, a happy dog, but not everyone has the good, happy dog that's down to play with the next. There's a lot of, you know, rescue dogs on the island. Some people have great breeds that are show dogs. Some people have rescue dogs. You know, it's just like the mix of people that are living on the island. Everybody's a little bit different. You know, we've already touched on the children with dog phobias. There's adults as well. And then talking about firefighter field and the octagon field specifically, you know, feces, urine on the island or on that area. We've got playing, you've got sports teams, and they pay for a permit to be able to play in that area. And if we're not monitoring, they're not set up for success in what they're doing. Beyond that, you know, it's been brought to my attention by the public forums, our Facebook groups and things like that. You know, we've been compared to Central Park. We're a quarter of a square mile. Central Park is well over a square mile, and it's monitored. It has the Central Park Conservancy, and there's very big rules and regulations as far as, you know, you have to be registered, licensed, you have to have your vaccination. You know, we don't have the people that will police that for us, you know, for the safety of everyone. You know, and as far as like the whole dog situation, I'm sure people got dogs over COVID. They're great for your household. I've been a dog lover my whole life and still have one now. But we chose them. So we are responsible for them. So until we figure out a resolution for a safe place for them to run, it's our responsibility to take them for that longer walk, for us to be able to keep them contained and let them feel safe and let others feel safe as well. The last thing I wanted to bring up is I was looking online if we should start a GoFundMe or something in the interim. But for $5,000, you would get AstroTurf in our dog park, so we wouldn't have muddy runs. It's not a great expense, and I know it's Hudson related to responsibility, but even though I have a dog that will not play in a dog park due to her being a rescue, I'd be down to pitch in for a GoFundMe so we can all find a quicker resolution.
Thank you, Nicole. I have Jennifer Heinen.
Yes. Hi. So I'm the one that authored the petition, and I actually myself am disabled. I have something called complex regional pain syndrome on both legs, and I have a current injury on one leg. So I have to walk with a cane. I cannot walk my dog because of that. So I need a solution that's close to home, like that I can actually have him exercise and play and socialize. I completely hear you. Not all dogs are friendly. Many adults and children have dog phobia. And I think we're all very reasonable and we want a solution that works for everyone. And if there are other options in the meantime, while we're waiting for a new dog park, I'm all ears. We need a significant amount of space for dogs to be able to run and exercise now. The dog parks are unsafe, unmaintained, and lack basic amenities. And I think we can all agree on that. I would also say, per my quote in the Roosevelt Island blog today, I looked up on the New York data sets to see how many dog licenses are on the island. It's over 780. So it's like a significant amount of dogs on this island that need a place to go. I actually think we should consider closing the Southtown Dog Park for safety reasons now. When I thought of off-leash hours, I actually envisioned completing the fence around Firefighter Field and actually having PSD there to monitor, to ensure that safety is maintained and also that dog poop is picked up. I think fines should be very much levied more than they are. I've seen PSD walk right by people who are not cleaning up after their dogs. So I agree with many of you on many of these points. If we were to have off-leash hours and the field were fenced in, that would be a time when, you know, children would not be in that area. People who are afraid of dogs would not be in that area. That being said, if there's also this significant plot of land next to the current dog park, I think that would make a great interim dog park if we could work that out with Related. So, you know, there may be other options that we can consider. But I agree with you. Dog owners need to be responsible for their dogs 100%. And during off-leash hours, that needs to be completely separate from any, you know, unfriendly dogs that are, you know, walking past, from any people that do not want to be next to dogs. I completely agree with those sentiments. We need a solution now. A new dog park's not going to kind of appear out of nowhere currently. And this is a desperate situation. I think we see unleashed dogs where they aren't supposed to be. And I agree, they should not be off the leash in any park because that's the rule right now. I think we see that because owners have nowhere else to take them. And we will continue to see this and have a lot of tension unless we come up with a solution. So a stopgap solution. I do have, you know, over 100 signatures currently on that petition. So it is a significant need within the community, I think. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Nicole.
Jennifer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Jennifer. Why am I saying Nicole? Because I'm seeing everything at once. Because I was reading a private message or everyone message from the chat. Merchu, I see that you're next in line to speak.
Yes.
And just before you speak, I do want to mention a lot of people have been bringing up the PSD and the dogs, people not picking up their dog PSDs. This has been an ongoing issue for a number of years. There has been a number of initiatives that RIRA has facilitated. I'm not sure if you have seen, but there's a bunch of different posters that you can see for years about picking up after your dog. It's illegal, there are fines. So we have been working with PSD a lot of years to address this issue. And we understand that it's still ongoing. So just wanted to lay that out there. Merchu, it is your turn.
Yes, I hope I'll be really brief because a lot of the things I was going to say, Jennifer said it, so I don't need to repeat it. However, I do feel that when we say now, we really mean now in terms of if the solution is even temporary. I do feel that we waited long enough. And yes, there are actually even more dogs now since after the pandemic. So I feel that maybe even if there is a temporary off-leash area, which would be known by the entire community in a location that is safe enough, or everybody would know that's off-leash hours. Which actually is not that much because it's until 9 a.m. usually and after 9 p.m. where kids are usually not really running. They're just in their school or, So based on that, if we can agree on in a location, I feel that alone would put enough pressure and would get people behind and do that little bit that needs to be done. I've been asked a couple of years ago, and suggestions of the design of that dog run. That's how close I thought we were. And I'm talking about 5 years back, where I thought it was being built, basically. So I feel that, yes, I'm happy to also put money into it. If we have to do a fundraiser, that's fine with me. But like I said, I think we need a temporary solution to start right now. And dogs cannot do their exercise on leash. Even if you give them a very long walk, it's not the same. And they need to socialize and they need to be off leash in order to do that. So a temporary solution until we get our dog run. I feel that's a fair request. And I think that's gonna actually help everybody. And lastly, I wanna say, I don't know how, but we need to do something to catch the people that don't pick up the dog's poop, because it makes me so mad. I even pick poop from other dogs just because I can't believe it that people would do that. So I heard something about the DNA, like you can actually, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I feel that might be a little bit expensive of a system, but I'm all for it. Any restriction that you can put, because people don't seem to care. And that puts us all dog owners in a very bad light that I don't think is fair to us. If something can be done about that as well, that would be very helpful. And also the field where dogs have enough, I just want to say, because I do have boys, I have children, that field has been in horrible shape for a long time. So I don't believe that's all due to the dogs. Actually, for that reason, I don't like my sons to play there, because the floor is so uneven that they can twist their ankle very easily. And that's been for many, many years. So I don't believe that's all because of the dogs off leash. And again, I never let my dog off leash. I don't want to, because it's not safe. But temporarily, I think it's a fair solution to put more pressure into the build of the new one.
Thank you, Merchu. As we continue, just a little reminder, 3 minutes max. We're ending the end of the session that is supposed to be 45 minutes. We will continue a little bit longer, but as always with these sort of things, 3 minutes, please. Frank, on to you.
So I'm going to speak rapidly to try to get in within 3 minutes. Okay, here we go. First, on the enforcement of this is something that it might not be the case that PSD has the ability to enforce all the laws. I've researched this. I believe PSD has to have an arrangement with either the Parks Department or Sanitation to issue tickets. So there's 3 kinds of tickets. They can only issue one. I believe now to happen. It's a bit of training, but that can be accomplished. My guess is within a month or 2, or 3 kind of time frame. On a spot for the dogs right now, the firefighters field, the drainage has been terrible. They've redone it, and they're going to redo it one more time. But the firefighters field is actually going to shrink when they put up Southtown 9. And so there's a space there that's extra right now that I think if you just put a fence across that and enclose it, because one side is a wall, that could give you a quick temporary location that would be actually consistent with the work that Hudson Related would be doing and would not be built upon until Southtown 9 is actually built. So that there's a place there. Regarding the AstroTurf or whatever it's called, we have a dog run in the Island House courtyard. I complained heavily about this, but they say as long as it's clean, and washer, I don't know, whatever that is, then it can remain sanitary. And the last point is that we can't just pick spots on the island because there's a limited amount of park space as defined by the GDP. So the idea of getting $10,000 and we'll build a park that still needs to be or dog run that still needs to be coordinated with RIRA. So anyway, I hope I did that within 3 minutes.
Frank, you did it in 2. Look at you. Next is Robert, and then I'll have Rosanna speak after Robert. Robert, we can't hear you.
Yes, no, he can hear you because he's taking care of the girls because I just arrived from the Girl Scouts. Hi, I'm Susie Del Campo, and I'm just gonna explain to you what is currently happening with irresponsible dog owners in the ball fields. So kids are playing baseball, they're playing soccer. Then these dog owners come, unleash their dogs on top of our kids' practice. Either they're like throwing, kicking, batting, or playing baseball. The kids are being chased. The baseball balls are being mauled and beaten by these dogs. The kids are afraid to go for the ball because they will get beaten by these dogs. The dogs are very dangerous because the kids are running and the dogs are chasing them and barking and growling at them. And then they get upset. This is happening in Ponyfield. I have put 2 public safety reports every Wednesday about happening. Then on Sunday, a dog owner brought her dog inside a playground because yes, why not? Bring an aggressive dog to a playground, and this dog almost bit the arm of a 10-year-old girl. Yes, why not? Why not saying to public safety that it's her right to have a dog? Because the dog is like his child, that the dog needs to do some exercise and be social. And our kids are forced into these situations by responsible dog owners. I'm not a dog hater, and I'm all for having the correct dog parks and dog runs in Roosevelt Island. But you cannot force our kids into stop playing or do it at a certain time when they only have sometimes between 6 and 9 p.m. or others between 3 and 8 p.m. to do so. You cannot force us to put a schedule on our kids on behalf of dogs. Dogs are not children. They're not humans. And we cannot have unleashed dogs. You give an inch and they take an arm. A dog has chased my daughter, 6 years old, while riding her bicycle by the promenade. And this dog is Sugar, and it belongs to Levensteins. And what they did, they laugh about it. And they told me, you should tell your daughter that she has to be friendly to unleashed dogs that are barking at her and chasing her, because that's the right thing for you as a mom to do. No. That is not the right thing. And like that, we have tens of hundreds of dog owners in Roosevelt Island. That is not the right thing. A person from Westview bringing a pit bull to Capo Bianco around 3 o'clock when all the kids are playing in the field and in the playground, and unleash him and chase them. Pardon me, that's not okay. Toddler groups, moms with babies that are taking their time in the grass to have a social thing for their kids will be out of those fields because, they belong to the dogs until 9 o'clock or maybe 10, or I was late, maybe till 11. That is not fair. Our kids have rights, and we're not saying that you don't. I'm just saying we will support unleashed dogs in the proper place, in a fenced area, but not in our ballparks or on our playgrounds, neither in the river walks or the promenades or Main Street. End of discussion. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susie. Robert, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that. We still can't hear you, Robert. I'm sorry. So I'm going to be moving on to Rosanna.
Talk in mine. Here.
Rosanna?
Okay, sorry, I'm going to talk to Rachel.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I'm a dog owner myself. Oh, shit.
What happened?
It's good to talk.
No, it's still there. You're still there.
So
We can hear you. We just can't see
okay,
you.
so I'm a dog owner myself, and everybody's talking about how they know that they have to have their dogs on leashes. But yet the same people that are doing this petition to have their dogs off of leash are the ones with their dogs off of leash in firefighter field. So if they're the ones that are going to be running the program to have to have dogs off leashes, then how are we even supposed to trust them on monitoring it when they don't even abide by the law now? I've also walked my dog every day when I get home from work at night from one end of the island to the other. And I've had multiple occasions in multiple different spots on the island where other dogs have come up to me, either on retractable leashes or off of leash. So when it comes to Roosevelt Island and having dogs off leashes, I do not think there should be any besides a designated area.
Okay.
And they should be able to, if the PSD is not able to enforce the law on that, they have given multiple warnings about people, the same people off leash on firefighters field. The 114 neighborhood coordination officers should be notified, and they should be monitoring the situation so they can issue summonses to these same people that are habitual offenders. And also, there's no lights on those fields. So at night, they have little hand lights, but they don't get to pick up all the poop. So when you're out there and you're playing on the field, now somebody slips and poops and breaks an ankle, who's gonna be responsible?
Thank you, Robert. So after Robert, we have Rosanna. I understand that Mary wants to speak. So after Rosanna, it's Mary, and then.
Let Mary speak first. It's fine. Let Mary go first and then I go.
Okay, Mary.
Hi. So I agree with what Susie said, that we don't want people chasing dogs off the streets. We don't want dogs to, get in the way of children's games. That's why we were asking for specific hours or a specific place. The thing is, we need an immediate solution, because when people say, oh, these are the rules, just take them to the current dog park. The current dog park should be shut down immediately because it's a health and safety hazard. You wouldn't take your child to a place like that where it's just a patch of dirt with holes and slabs. And I think the reason people are just taking their dogs, someone
You want to mute everyone, otherwise we hear the background. Just Mary up.
I got it.
So I think the reason people have their dogs in fields now everywhere, it's because they don't have any place else to take, and then it's frustrating. Even if you say, oh, these are the rules, you can't let the dogs anywhere, but there's not a place for you to take your dogs. So you're gonna have to break the rules. Like, just a parallel here, I'm a woman and I'm gay. There has been a time where women couldn't vote and couldn't own land. You couldn't be gay, you couldn't have gay marriage. And so all of that, those were not rules that were acceptable. Just like it's not acceptable that our dogs don't have a space. So we are just asking for specific hours and a specific place so our dogs can exercise. I don't think this is unreasonable. And we want everybody to be safe. We want to enforce the rules. We don't want to have crazy people or, that are not friendly, running, chasing children. We don't want any children nearby when the dogs are off leash, but there are off leash hours in the rest of New York. I know we're not Central Park, but we need to find a solution because there's a lot of green space in the island, and we should be able to find just a little bit to share, even if just for a few hours. We're not asking for much, and just while the new park is not built. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. Rosanna?
I just was going to reply, but I think that Frank partially did already too. I don't know. I apologize. Merchu.
Merchu.
What's your first name? I'm sorry.
Merchu.
Yes, Merchu.
Okay. So
yeah.
You mentioned before in your comment that you are planning or thinking or considering to do a GoFund.
I thought maybe that's a possibility. I actually don't know, but I'm saying I'm very happy to put money into it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of dog owners would too.
Right, but unfortunately, you or anyone would still need permits from RIRA, the state, and everything else. So health department and all the codes that are involved in it. So it's not just that we can collect money. That would be the ideal world. We collect the money and we create what we would like in our ideal world. So,
the bottom line question here, right? If we all want those dog parks, right? The ones for their kids to be safe, for everybody to be safe, and for our dogs to be safe. What is blocking it? Does anybody in this group have enough information? Because really, I know that the apartments across from us have very high rents and all that. I understand all that. But how did they get the permits to build something so fast when a dog run is such a simple structure And for it to be, the kind of material that doesn't need to be maintained, I don't think it's rocket science. I just don't understand if it's not money. And it is all about permits. How can it take so many years to get those permits, to get the backing? I always thought that the people that make these decisions or give
May I answer?
they might have a bias, some bias involved that are blocking it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense, right? The people that are concerned about their
I can
children,
answer.
No,
I can answer. Rosanna,
yes,
and
just
Raul,
let me
I can
finish.
answer.
The people that are concerned about their children, which I am too, right? I have children. And us, the people that are concerned about our dogs, we all agree that the dog run is the way to go. So I'm thinking, how could it be that for 8 years that I witnessed, right? Because that's all I lived here, it could take this long. If it's not, how can a permit take that long?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Can I answer, Raul?
Virtue and Susie, thank you both, but let's
Sure.
remember that it was
Thank
Rosanna
you.
had the floor, and we
Okay.
have to wait to let everyone speak. We've had your chance to speak. There are a number of
Thank you.
individuals that are still waiting to speak. Rosanna,
Sure.
can you please
Thank
continue?
you.
Okay, as I was trying to say, again, and as we said at the beginning of this meeting, RIRA, the Island Services Committee, presented to RIOC proposals years ago for the north side of Dog Run and also the south side. And again, I will say it once again, I don't know where everyone lives, but Hudson Related has a signed agreement to build this park. So now I agree with everyone saying, why is taking so long? Well, because the plan for the north one, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, was going to be enclosed in the expansion of the lighthouse. Now that the lighthouse has been stopped for whatever reason, okay, there has been a delay, and now we expect another plan to take place around the parking lot, but certainly the current, let's call it Dog Run. I agree that is a place that has not been kept up, and doesn't have water and everything. I completely agree, but will be upgraded and running. The south one is the one that has to be built from scratch. So I agree on that part that we all have been pushing on this. The delays had been happening also because of the COVID in the last 3 years, but we have been putting a lot of pressure on RIOC about these dog parks. Now, President Haynes came forward publicly, and so I expect, honestly, something to be done immediately. But regarding the off-leash hours, I also tend to agree with all the guests at this meeting that express concern about that, because if there is not a proper fence, that can be an issue, because how can you identify the aggressive, so to speak, dog from the sweet dog? As someone mentioned, when it's night, okay, you won't be able even to see the dogs in the dark, right? And besides, are you going to ask for an ID? Is your dog, we don't even know about vaccines, which we should. Just last month, there were a couple of residents of the island who publicly posted a note. They were looking for the owner of, in 2 different occasions, they were looking for the owner of 2 dogs who had been bitten them, okay? The owner with the dogs fled, and they wanted, they were not aggressive, they just put the note up and they said, we would like to know if we have to go to a doctor and get a vaccine, get vaccinated, or if in fact these dogs have an updated vaccines, they're all vaccines up to date rather, okay? So this is also sad. I mean, if 2 people got bitten and one of them is a friend of mine who lives in River Cross, okay? I will not mention the name because obviously I have not been authorized
to use her name, but she has been beaten as she was simply walking her dog, okay, on the leash, and this dog attacked her knee, okay, and she was actually severely wounded, okay. So in another occasion, another dog did the same to a person. So a cat has been, just to mention the Wildlife Freedom Foundation, a cat has been attacked terribly, voraciously, I would say, okay? And is just alive because he ran and was grabbed by the back. And obviously, the Wildlife Freedom Foundation is now absorbing and digesting this very high bill because the owner of the dog was certainly not nice to come forward and say, well, sorry, it happened. Here is my check for the bill, okay, which is already over $2,000. Okay, just to let you know. But this can happen to a child, to an adult, to anybody, and that cannot happen. So that's why I agree. I am sorry. I apologize. I don't remember who mentioned that. But if it has to be a time off leash hours, wherever, the area needs to be secured. Just because you won't be able, just as you secure the dog run small from large dogs, how will you secure the baseball field? What will you do? Like from 1 hour to another hour, small dogs, then you will put from 1 hour to another hour, the medium dogs. I don't see it really happening. In the city is different also because the area of the city is obviously much larger than Roosevelt Island. We are only 2.4 miles. So imagine, 2.4 miles and having, a firefighter field or whatever other field, Octagon field, McManus field, having off leash hours for the dogs. Obviously, we will get a lot of complaints from parents. I understand that. And again, I reiterate that I am a dog person, okay? Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Rosanna. Okay, just an update. It is 7:30. I'm going to have 3 individuals who have been waiting patiently give their time. That's Ashley, Michelle, and Shane. After that, we will have to end the meeting. That being said, I would like to say that Island Services Committee has a monthly meeting. It's every second Tuesday of the month. This is a special meeting that has just happened. However, if you're interested in learning more or picking up every second Tuesday of the month. If you want to get involved, if you want to be a part of Island Services or any other service, please let me know. If you want an update on this dog run situation, I'd be happy to send emails to each and every one of you or keep you on a list. Also, of course, Rick provides a great update on everything, so you can also follow him. That is my spiel. Ashley, it is your turn.
Thank you so much. So everyone has made amazing points, and I apologize because, as I said earlier, that is the attorney in me, so I'm going to always listen to both sides of every argument. I think that where we stand at is really the enforcement issue going on around here. I apologize. Because let's say that we did use a temporary space and we fenced that off, we then in turn really need somebody who is going to push forward that enforcement. We need somebody who is going to sit there and monitor it. As I stated before in the chat, it's unfortunately, this isn't an issue with just residents because now, we have so many visitors. The island is gaining more traction, more foot traffic than it has ever seen. So again, and that's at all hours as well, but then that can also easily transfer over to daytime hours now. And then as even Rosanna just said, now we have to worry about this issue with, okay, well, what size dogs are allowed in there? So I feel as though when presenting this to the next higher up authority, we really have to push the enforcement issue. And of course, like I said earlier, I'm a huge mama bear, but I'm also a doggy auntie. Unfortunately, and I hate to say it, my son, he's 13, but he's special needs. His phobia was tossed out the window. 2 dogs ran over to him while we were over in Ponyfield practicing for baseball one day. And I asked nicely at first, hey, can you please get your dog? We're all the way at the cage over on Main Street. They're all the way toward the back of Ponyfield. by the time they came over the third time, grabbed his ball, my son could no longer hold it together. Now I have to turn it to a mama bear, but then that's what continues to create that tension of, oh, it's dog owners against parents, parents against dog owners, when it's just nobody is being listened to, nobody's being respected whatsoever. So I think that when we're presenting this to the next level up, that's something that has to be taken into consideration. It absolutely has to, because it's not so much that we don't want that over here. As we said, we have plenty of us on here. We love dogs. I know for a fact there are plenty of people on here who have owned dogs that don't any longer, but we just have to get to that point where we get the enforcement. Unfortunately, when I had to go into mama bear mode, I knew that I can't say public safety, because I know that I know for a personal fact, there are residents who are telling public safety, of course I'm allowed to keep my dog over here. You don't know what you're talking about. Entirely separate issue. But, you know, I had to let them know. I can get 114th Precinct over here now, and because I'm just quick on my toes with evidence, and I have you on camera. So what is it that you want to do? And I think that that's really what's creating the issue here. So I think that that's the main thing that we have to push forward, is what are we doing in terms of enforcement if we do move forward with this temporary space. So that's all I wanted to say. Hopefully I'm under my 3 minutes.
You are, Ashley. Thank you so much. Michelle, it's your turn.
Well, I really have to agree with Ashley there. I think enforcement and ownership is the biggest, I guess, point of contention right now. There just isn't, I guess, I mean, we clearly know who the entity needs to be responsible for bringing up this, I don't know, some sort of a temporary dog enclosement, or a dog park, or a temporary dog run. But I think what we are all frustrated by is like the lack of timeline, lack of like understanding of what is this actual project going to be, how quickly can it be resolved, and like who will take the ownership and enforce all of these issues that we're all worried about. Like, look, I was walking the promenade with my toddler the other day, and he picked up dog poop in his hand. I have 2 dogs that are old and pretty aggressive. I mean, Mary knows. I know Mary. Mary walks my dogs constantly. Like, I love her. She's watched over them, and like my dogs have had issues with Mary's dog even, and they're old and mean, so they don't like other dogs approaching. So I am not on board with the whole off-leash idea without having proper enclosures and enforcement around it, or else it just wouldn't be sustainable in the long run, because it would just, I guess, exacerbate this point of contention that is building between the pet owners and the parents. And I think we need to come to a clear conclusion. I am all for a petition as long as it can be enforced in the manner that is sustainable for the parents. That's all I really have to add. I think like Ashley and everyone else have really covered all the other like main points.
Thank you, Michelle. Shane, you are last.
Hi, sorry. I know this might come as a shock of a voice because obviously my dad is the paw picture.
We can barely hear whoever's speaking, unfortunately.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, but it's very, very faint.
Wait, sorry. Can you hear me now?
It's better, but still a little soft. Speak, I guess, louder, or there's something with the mic.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I know my profile picture might come as a shock, but this is actually my dad's. But I am a 16-year-old living on the island, and I've been living on the island with my family. My mom is also here. And I've been living on the island since I was 2 years old. And we just got a dog a year and a half ago. And I just wanted to just back up what Ashley and Michelle were saying. I completely agree with you. I think that like enforcement is the most important thing. You really don't realize until you have a dog on the island how there is no space for dogs whatsoever, and the space that is given is very little, and it's really not conditioned well at all whatsoever. Even as a teenager myself, I can acknowledge the fact that the dog run is not a safe place for dogs, and it's not monitored and supervised correctly. And that's why I believe that most dog owners go to that area. I'm not saying that it's right to go to the baseball field, but it's because that dog run is so unsafe, and it's not it's not like, I don't know how to, it's just not a good dog run. And I feel like enforcing and creating a new area for dogs is so important. And I feel like having meetings like this is so important. So thank you. And I just feel like as a teenager as well, I just need to speak out on the issue because I've been living on the island. I know my mom, who's right next to me, also has like Ashley said, like a mama bear kind of importance to her. And I do have a brother with special needs as well, who used to be terrified of dogs before we got my dog. So I do understand like the child, like the mother's perspective or parents' perspective, but you do also need to take into account that my mom has a dog and children who she has to worry about, a child with special needs who does have a fear of dogs, but you need to realize that we need to create a safe environment for the dogs to be in, or else people are going to go to other areas. So that's just what I wanted to clarify. So thank you so much for holding this.
Thank you so much for speaking. So that concludes the discussion on this topic. I would like to thank everyone for voicing their concerns and their points of interest. I have taken notes. I also have basically some summary points that I've gathered in no particular order. The first one is that there needs to be an immediate solution to have dogs have a temporary place where they can exercise and run off leash. This place should be fenced and should be monitored. This space for dogs is immediate. We understand it should be something that's happening now, not months from now or years from now. Second, I would like to address that the dog runs as they are now are hazards to the dogs. We will address that and see if maybe we should even just shut them down immediately, given that there's been concerns that dogs have been harmed while using those present dog runs. Third is enforcement, as Ashley so adequately put. There is a lot to be discussed when it comes to PSD or any authorities regulating the feces, regulating off-leash, illegal dogs off-leash. And to Ashley's point, if there is going to be a temporary dog run, that should be also enforced and monitored because, you know, as we all know, things happen, things that are out of control. There needs to be enforcement involved. And then fourth, when it regards to the redevelopment of these dog runs, as the Octagon dog run or the North dog run, we need to see a plan now, since that there's no obstacles in that right now to be developed. And then for the South dog run, we need an update regarding that situation with Hudson Related and RIOC. And so those are my points. Rosanna, would you like to add anything as a closer before I end this? You're muted, Rosanna.
Just thank you, Raul. Great meeting. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. It's very important. Thank you, Raul. It was really great. Thanks.
Thank you. And as I said, my email is in the chat. Please email me. I live at the Octagon. So if anyone is really interested in joining the efforts to make this a better place, both for dogs and humans and everyone, let me know. And just to point out, when it comes to public safety and it comes to anything regarding public safety, there is a separate committee called the Public Safety Committee. They also have monthly meetings. That committee is run by Erin Feely-Naham. So she will be coordinating with me regarding public safety issues regarding dogs. She has a great relationship and is great when it comes to public safety. So if you're interested, I'm sure that we can get you those details as well. Thank you for everyone who joined, and I hope to see you around the island. Bye-bye.